I think you mentioned something earlier on in terms of, in relation to accountability, in terms of, like you said, the millions spent.
Yes.
Shouldn't there be some kind of a benchmark or some kind of an accounting that, you know, that we need to see the corresponding development or achievements? For example, if you're helping farmers, for example, and you get funding for certain projects, shouldn't we link that to either an increase in productivity, increase in export, and increasing the improvement of the condition of farmers? Shouldn't there be that kind of a link?
Certainly, except if, as we know, our vulnerability, there are hurricanes and storms, diseases.
We make allowance for that, yeah.
Yes, those sort of things, of course. Bernard, a lot of the support we get, grant funding and so on, we have to understand it comes from taxpayers, some other countries, you know, from governments that have their own challenges, who look back at us and say, look, we need to assist these people. And it's so irresponsible sometimes the way we deal. I mean, with that, I was almost going to mention the St. Jude Hospital, and there's a reason why I don't want to go there. You might be aware that I'm actually a serving board member currently. And of course, you know, in many ways, deliberately, we want to stay out of what seems to be a very politically charged debate and discussion over St. Jude. We want to focus on what we're doing to move the institution forward. The institution is fraught with a lot of challenges. So, yes, I agree that it is almost an imperative that in terms of accounting, that's all it can be about. That if you receive resources, you have to be able to show at the other end that there are results. To me, there is a logic. It's almost like maths, 1 and 1 make 2. And so that is what it is. But again, we come back to civil society and our electorate and citizenry, the extent to which we make those demands. Because we are aware of too many situations where there isn't accountability, that people receive monies, whether it is, and we're talking here both government and non-governmental organizations, and we accept it. Yeah. You know, we, as we say in St. Lucian Palace, we swish about it. We talk in the backyards and so on, but we don't make demands. So what about coming to an annual general meeting and demanding from your executive accountability as to that grant of $60,000 that they received? What came out of it? I think when we can do that more and more, both at the national government, institutional level, then people coming into these organizations, and I'm speaking both government and non-governmental, understand that there's a mature electorate and they have to now walk the straight and narrow.
And I think you're right in terms of, and it has to start because I think with us as a people, even as a member of a parent-teachers association,
Certainly.
If you pay facility fees and you pay for this, there's anyone always asking, well, give us an accounting as to how that money is being used and so on. It's not how you want to accuse anybody, but you want to get into the habit of being accountable to people, especially if you're going to use people's hard earnings, and it also translates into the bigger projects that we have in the community as well. So I mean, there's quite a lot that we have to discuss in civil society.
But Bernard, that mindset is so void. I look at a little experience recently where I had some problems with my service at home from Flow, and it reached to the point where I call a talk show and I expose my views. But you know what? There was a flood because I provided my phone number, calls to me, and people come, oh, that was so great. You called a meeting, nobody showed up. Why are we that way in this country? I don't know. That I think calls for a thesis.
It is a major study, and I think even our intellectuals, academics in schools need to start looking at those issues, because I think part of it is the empowerment. People are not aware of how they can empower themselves, and simple things. It doesn't mean that you have to run for office. But you can start with your family and start, making the right decisions, but informing yourself about what needs to happen and so on. So I mean, there's a lot of that we need to discuss and start thinking on it. And I think you had hinted a little bit about St. Jude earlier on. I'm not going to go into detail, but as a country, it's I don't want to use the word embarrassing, but it is difficult for us to accept that we haven't been able to solve our health issues either through St. Jude or the new hospital.
Well, I describe it as our biggest national, what is the right word to use?
Challenge.
Not challenge, I want to use a stronger word. It's a scandal. Post-independence. It's ridiculous. We have to understand what we say into the world. when we allow things 8 years, you know, from whatever perspective you look at it, reconstruction, rehabilitation or building from foundation, 8 years, I mean, come on.
Other people to pass it, because I mean people are being affected, and I mean we probably don't have a crisis at the moment to manifest the need for that facility down there, but have we accepted it for too long? Because you say it's going to be 10 years pretty soon, and we still don't see it. I'm sure this new government has some ideas, but we're still not seeing you know, a resolution that we can point and say, yeah, this is going to work, because there's still a lot of division over how we approach it. But how do we, because there may be another St. Jude happening right now. How do we, as a people, forget the politicians for the time being, deal with those kind of things?
Well, we have to find ways to channel our energies and our thoughts in the right places. Again, it comes back to organizations. But I also want to say, because that's a big part of the problem, that our governments must understand the value in engaging and consulting people. Too many times, politicians, you know, mull over things, they agonize over things. They make you feel that they have answers when they're more confused than yourself. And there's a simple formula to resolve that: consultation. Town hall meetings. I mean, the beauty, Bernard, of taking a project like St. Jude or whatever and taking it to the people in the South. Okay, say my Maila Oswea, no kind of meeting a V4. Lot Sunday no Dimash no Laboui. No, you know, and you go around and you put the designs, PowerPoint, you use the technology or whatever, and you say to people, okay, me say Sanuka, you know, and so this gentleman would say and say, usav sabon me fetaila supposé a coule vet. Parce que si vet, ikai near pli me wapo epi everyone ma only one, you know, and you show them that you're taking notes of what they're saying. So it is not just, you know, so I mean, I want to go to some detail, but that may sound ridiculous to some people, but there's a way in which you can have your stuff flashed up there, and you can have a secretary with, because you have to use the technology, with a laptop, with a projector, so the guy sees that you're putting his notes, you're respecting what he's saying, and it's there. What he said, hey, Usavio Ikrisamadi, you know what that means to people? And then it goes in a document tomorrow, and they can read, Mr. Samate de Yomache. When we can respect people that way and work with them, it opens up an energy, it opens up trust and belief in government. But you know what? It must go the next critical step of implementation, where there is merit. Okay, because obviously people saying things that are not viable or feasible, they cannot be implemented.
But I think one of the key things, even if all the recommendations are not taken, but they're informed, they know what's going on, and they're part of the process, and their thoughts could be incorporated in some of those things. Danny, there's a lot of things we can talk about, but I know time is a limitation here as well, and I'm sure we will have an ongoing dialogue.
Of course, I can come back again.
On this, we'll definitely want to have you in there to share. There's so many experiences that you've had yourself. You've worked in government as well.
Yes.
As public relations and so on. So you have that kind of exposure as well, and you're into tourism as well, so there's that additional exposure. There's a lot of things that we need to discuss with you, but like I said, time is a challenge for us. But we'll certainly want to have you back here.
Of course.
To talk some more on it, but we're happy that you've shared your thoughts with us, and we hope that we can have more persons from civil society to come here to, you know, talk a little bit about their thoughts, their feelings, and two, the other thing too is what are they doing, because we don't want people to just be talking, but we don't know what are you doing to make a difference.
Certainly.
Or what can, you know, people next to you do to make a difference. So at least we want to, you know, have something happening as opposed to talking.
Right.
But we can report on actions as well. And I know you've been involved, like I said, you've done quite a bit of community activism.
Oh, yes.
As well. And so you have experience. So we certainly want to have you here to share that with us. But Danny, thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot, Bernard. And I want to encourage you with this kind of dialogue. I think our country needs more of that. As I said, I think we're almost at the crossroads now in terms of throwing up real progress and change in our society. Thanks again.
All right. Appreciate it.